Hey guys, back with another Echoing Thoughts podcast here, episode number 89. Back after a long sabbatical, 5 weeks. I was off. A little bit of background. I was in, for my job, I work at Intel, and we get a sabbatical 4 weeks off every 4 years. So I've been working there for almost 5 years now, 5 years. And so I took a sabbatical, and then some PTO after that. So I had about 5 weeks off, went to Hawaii. Well, I first went to San Fran for Gildy's wedding with my daughter. Ended up getting food poisoning that day, that night. Pretty much went out in the morning, took a nap, wasn't feeling great, ended up getting ready, getting dressed, meeting Gildy downstairs in the hotel, and then having to go back up, throw up, wasn't able to make it. Really, really unfortunate. Missed out on a lot of fun, missed out on a lot of memes and pictures and just seeing everybody. Never met most of them, but was able to meet up with the bride a few days later before I left, and she got to meet my daughter, which is really what anyone wanted to see. They didn't even really care about me. But it's been a while since that happened, but I just had to bring it up because that was unfortunate. And then ended up going to Hawaii, visit the family for a bit. Well, stayed with the family. I'm from Hawaii, if you didn't know. Had a wedding the following weekend, so I had two weddings back-to-back weekends. Went to that, a lot of fun. Kids went as well. And then spent some time with the family for a bit. Then went to Japan and Korea with the wife and another couple of ours. So 4 of us went to Japan, Osaka, Kyoto, Tokyo, 9 days in Japan. Just, if you ever been to Japan or haven't been to Japan, you got to go. It's the US dollar goes very far right now. Yen, everything is just cheap. The food is amazing. Just the culture, just the environment just feels very safe. Everyone is very friendly. Kind of just puts you in a good mood. Like whether you want to just relax and take a bath in the hotel or an onsen or whatever it is, or just walk around and see the temples, or just go shopping or do anything. It just felt like it was a nice vacation. And people ask me all the time what the best part was. It is just, for me, it was just being able to wake up whenever I wanted to, go down to 7-Eleven, get some of their food, breakfast, or whatever it is. Their convenience store food is S tier. It's just the best. And then just walking around, hanging out. The weather was perfect. It was like 60s, 70s. Just a good reset. Kids weren't there. They had a blast with the grandparents in Hawaii. Didn't even care about us. So, just good vibes, good people, and just go back. We want to go back already, trying to plan our next trip. And then Korea, we stayed in Myeongdong our first time. Went to a PC internet cafe with my friend over there. We just gamed for 4 hours, I think. Ate food, played games, just hung out. It was kind of all we needed, right? Just for me, it wasn't anything crazy. My wife and her friend went get a massage, did all their makeup stuff, all their skincare things, shopping, foods. It's just a great time. And it went by so fast, but also at the same time, it was just the perfect amount of time to reset from the game, from life, from just everything. It just felt like a different world because the time zone was completely different. Waking up, like football was done already. It was like 2 a.m. started. And so by the time the afternoon, the Sunday night game it was like in the morning. I remember watching the World Series that started at 9 o'clock a.m. It was just, felt nice. Just everyone just living in a different world. It felt like time zone is a crazy thing. But yeah, that's kind of where I was. And then I came back home after Korea, did a lot of shopping, a lot of spending, and came back to Hawaii. Had about a week to get adjusted to the time zone change there, the weather, and had another wedding at the end of the trip. So I had 3 weddings in about 5 weeks. Kind of worked out perfectly. But at the same time, we came back home, took a red eye to Seattle, went to the aquarium there, and then stayed in Seattle for about 8 hours, and then came back to Oregon. And yeah, so came back a changed man. To be honest, was didn't even want to come back to Maple for a bit. Like the reset was so nice. It just felt like not doing dailies or just not doing as much bossing, and just being able to not have it in my daily grind just kind of felt nice. Like I got a new wardrobe, Uniqlo, wool clothes, got new glasses, just feel like a whole different person. I'm like, do I really need to have Maple in my life? So it was very, before the trip, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing the content and posting and playing and hanging out. But then now I'm kind of just like, I'm in a weird state of mind where I'm just chilling, And so trying to get back into it. This patch was, we'll get into it a little bit, but looking at it, the patch notes could be like a 5-minute video on the patch notes. Nothing crazy. Ended up clearing Gloom last night. Posting our first clear. It should be up by now. It's uploading right now, so that was pretty fun. Kind of the saving grace for the patch, and just insane to see that the Gloom ring and the Party XP medal is like an achievement for the first clear. I'll talk about that, how insane that is. Unheard of for this game, that we get the drop automatically. So I'll talk about how that kind of affects just moving forward, and whether it's a good thing for the game or not, just the pros and cons, right? Because I think I'm not going to complain about getting the drop and not having to deal with RNG, but there are some things that there's a downside to everything. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, I just wanted to spend this first 7 minutes just saying, just it's good to be back, but also there was a high probability that I was not going to come back at all and do any content, and just kind of chill and not even play the game as much, and just look towards a different route in 2025. But we'll see. We'll be right back, and we'll talk some patch notes and get into it. All right, so patch notes, November patch. Curious what your guys' thoughts are. Pretty underwhelming, right? Like, the main thing is Gloom and just a bunch of events. Nothing special, nothing crazy. It's kind of going through a dry period in content, it feels like. I was hoping for a rebalance, or I was expecting even a new character to come out, but it feels like they're behind KMSM in terms of bossing. New bosses coming out, because they introduced a new boss, and they also have Vihila, and they also have Gloom. And then characters wise, they're behind Mihail, they're behind Kane, they're behind Errol. So it's just interesting. There's probably one more that I'm missing, but yeah, it's just interesting that they decided to go this route. New map, new everything. So obviously trying to please the whales, and they kind of did things that with the new boss drop as well was huge. But it feels like the game is, this is kind of normal cycle of MSM. It's kind of going through a dead period. More people are quitting, more people are retiring, just how it goes. So there's no different with the updates. So this update, surrounded by this 660 arcane power, nothing crazy, same as Lucid, I think. The ring, primals, so you get a chance at the ring and you get primals, so that's nice. And they also give stigma stones and chaos shards. So we got, if you watched my previous video, my clear video, I got 16 stigma stones. I think someone else got 20 plus. And then the stigma, that's obviously less than hard Damien. So it's nothing crazy. And that's kind of what I'm going to talk about later, how my thoughts on Gloom in the future, and how it's not in my opinion, it's not like a weekly boss that you must have to clear, because the rewards are minor, in my opinion. So some interesting things here. They have an all cure potion cooldown as well, because there's some parts of the boss that you need to use all cures and they won't allow you to spam it. Petrification status is the new mechanic for Gloom, where you're just going to go into this state of darkness essentially. So it's reduction cooldown shared. While petrified, the petrification gauge will periodically lower. After defeating specific monsters, the petrification gauge of the character that defeated the monster will decrease. So essentially what you want to do, the main thing of the boss is you're going to get into this petrification phase. You got to survive it, get through it. If petrified character dies, the petrification character nearby increases. So this is sort of the biggest pain. If people die, it's harder to get out of this this gauge, right? This phase. So that's something that I didn't really think about, but yeah, it's kind of just staying alive and kiting is kind of the biggest. Like there's 3 ads here that do different things. This one will do confuse debuff and do damage. This one will do petrification debuff, and this one will do the seal debuff, right? And the main thing that we learned is that these come all over the place, and if you can kite them, you can stun them, you can slow them. It just allows for less interruptions, allows other classes to cleave the ads down, the mobs down, and just get through this phase, and you'll get through it. And it happens pretty frequently, the cycle. So, but that is sort of the main name of the game, right? Figuring out how to survive this and getting through it, and then moving forward. So tentacle barrier, basically there's 2 phases for the Gloom. When it's sort of the eye is blocked, it's going to do invincibility against all damage. You want to attack and defeat the tentacle barrier to clear the Gloom's invincibility. I don't know if it's invincible or I'm misunderstanding, but you can still do damage because you have to hit this to break it, basically. That's my understanding. Oh, I see. Yeah. And then these 3 orbs right here fall from the ground. It's sort of a combination of Magnus and Lotus phase 1 with the debris and also the bombs, because they'll do different things. It'll lure, it'll stun, it'll zombify. So, but they don't take damage, unlike bombs in Lotus phase 1. So you just got to dodge it. And the least annoying one is the stun. Just all cure that. I'm not sure if you can all cure these other ones. Usually you can't, but yeah. If you have to choose, I'd choose the stun. Fog Storm, like Empress, comes up from the ground. You'll kind of see it do this first, and then it will go up in the air and do damage. Fixed damage or scaled damage, kind of, it's just a pain. Just chaos. Just chaos that you have to get used to, and not much different than other bosses. And this is some PowerPoint. Someone said in the Discord, PowerPoint art right here, design with this. But basically what it is it's going to do sort of a indicator of where the legs, these type of things are going to come, and then the legs are going to come and actually do the damage. So dodge that as well. There's 2 different types of it. But yeah, Tentacle Strike. And then Eye of the Void has a bigger Tentacle Strike, these big ones here, that will one-shot you. Laser, the sucky we call it, because it's going to pull you in towards the Eye of the Void, which is in the middle. There's a banner that shows up. Just get to the corners and try to survive. Try to not get hit and one-shot it. I think there's like 200k plus, 250k plus per tick. So just don't get in the middle. And then rewards. So the ring, sneaky, you actually get this with a first clear, account bound, and guarantee 100%. Insane. Never seen that before. No mag souls, no mag shards, sorry. Instead, this. And I don't even think is there even a mag shards from Gloom? Now that I think about it, I don't even think it drops shards. I gotta check that. Yeah, I don't see any mag like for weapons or armor or anything like that. So very unique boss. 100% guarantee the ring on first clear, but no mag shards at all. Not even like from rewards, not even from anything. So interesting. It is a mythic ring as well. And you can't obviously trade in trade station. So yeah, but it's nice. It's part of the pitch set. So right now I'm at 4 set 800k cap, huge, huge. And then with the will one, we'll get 800, get more there. But so it's pretty nice, pretty nice. We'll take it. Achievement, Cygnus Knights, yeah. Luminous, new skill. Luminous OP. And then Pharaoh's Treasure. Just a little bit of quality of life stuff. I think it's starting, instead of stage 11, it's going to start stage 15. Things like that. Fixes there. Rewards. Nothing crazy. Path of Proof. This is such an interesting thing. They changed it completely. Which is, I don't know if this is going to be moving forward or if this is an event or something. But starting next week, they're going to do this again. Obviously trying to get the cash grab for the experience nodes. But it's nice. I think there's some value to it. To get all of these things, Radiant Exalts or Chaos Shards or whatever it is. And it allows you to get it by doing higher commander bosses, right? The original commander weeklies were just through Von Leon, Hilla, Magnus, and Arc. But now Lotus gives you this. Damien, everything, probably up to Gloom and Will. So Will for sure. So it's nice. It benefits everybody. I think alts still will get the clear amounts if they do, their normal clears, and they still get the Chaos Shards by still doing, their normal Chaos Commander dailies. So I like it. I like it for sure. Yeah, here, Will, up to Will. So no Gloom, just Will, but it's a lot. And then these are also obviously the gains, experience nodes, chaos, radiant exalts, things like that. So pretty nice. You can get they got 10% here. So 20% radiant exalt, and you could probably use another 10% ancient, and that costs you $30, $39.99. Plus you get all these other things. Seems like a pretty good deal. Nice little quality of life mini dungeon thing. Finally. Love this. I tried it out today. It took me about 6 minutes and 30 seconds to clear all 5. Love that. Worth. And then Spiegelman, nothing crazy here. Events, rewards, things like that. Yeah, this is a redo. Ooh, Storm Growth with Auto Battle. We'll take that. Love the free XP. Help with your alts or help with your main, whatever you want. Loot key for the boss commanders. We like this. Again, this is a shop. And so you just... How to get your uniques. Do your dailies. Get a chance at all this stuff. Chat profile. So that's for commander, and this is for... So this is how you can get your 6 set. Whatever, 5 set. Your Magnus drops. Your Chaos Stones. Your things like that. Just do your dailies. Right? We'll take it. It's not bad at all. And these are just the packages. So... Dang, I didn't even realize I had that. Crazy. Radiant Exalt. Thank goodness no Chaos Radiant Exalts. Exalt Failstone. Things like that. So this is the patch. Pretty easy. 10 minutes, 11 minutes. Even the bug fixes, the improvements weren't anything. I looked through this. Wasn't anything like game changing. Anything to be aware of. So that's the patch. Quick, easy, no rebalance, no new character. We'll be right back. I'm going to talk about sort of what I expect in the December update. And just talk about more. What I think of Gloom, how it ranks to the other bosses that I've cleared on the first try. Just more. So I first want to talk about my predictions and expectations for December update, because I feel like the last few updates have been very underwhelming. The October one I didn't even pay attention to because they didn't have anything crazy. November one has this boss, but that really only affects the 1%, maybe the 5% of the population. And so my expectation for December is one of two things, right? I'm hoping, and I'm curious if they're ever going to do a rebalance again, right? Because that would be my first guess. And it feels like right now, not too many people are complaining about their class because there's so many ways to gear up. Ignore enemy defense, with cap, and with percent stats. It feels like the classes are pretty balanced. So I'm curious moving forward what their plans are to, because rebalance is still like, even though it may not be necessary, it still feels like that's what gets the community excited, right? So if they don't do a rebalance, they're basically saying kind of they're happy where the game is at. The community is probably happy where their game is at and their classes, and they're just going to find more ways to help people progress and gear up, right? And if anything, if I were to predict something, I would predict that like maybe 3 or 4 classes get a rebalance, something, right? But if I were to pitch Paladin, just quickly, right? Paladins are OP. In my opinion, the best class in the game. I was thinking about this. If I had the option to reroll to any class, swap, like someone were to take my account and give me theirs, would I swap with anyone? I think the answer is no. Like, Paladin is just insane at the highest level and just throughout, like as an alter and all things like that. So I understand Paladins are OP, but I think one thing that I would like is a quality life improvement. And this has to do more for training and at the highest permas, right? And for me, it's our righteous hammers, the hammers that go around us. It's a 30-second cooldown. You have to attack every 30 seconds to maintain the buff, right? If not, it drops off and you have to attack 5 more times to get 5 more hammers surrounding you. And it's at 30 seconds. I wish they just changed that to 60 seconds. If anyone's listening out there, 60 seconds, because for some reason, my perma is so OP that I can't even I only have 2 attacks in my training. I got my V4 hammers, the hammers that kind of fly around, Thor's hammer that lock onto mobs and attack, and then my divine charge, which is my main bomb mobbing attack. And I can't even get to divine charge every 30 seconds. It's just insane. I'm walking around, rope lifting around, killing stuff, and I can't even get it, and I lose the cooldown all the time. And I just pray, 30 seconds to 60 seconds, please. Please, that would be huge. That would be amazing. And the second one is our Heaven's Hammer. For me, I don't even use it. It's a wasted skill. It's supposed to be our mobbing skill. Don't use it. Lower tier players do probably, because they can still maintain their hammers. But for my perma, I can't use it. So if the combination of those two, please make it usable. Make Heaven's Hammer a little bit stronger so that we can actually use it in mobbing and possibly in bossing. But right now, just a little ask for Christmas. My little asking Santa. But other than that, I think if there's rebalance is going to happen, it's probably going to be to like a few classes, quality of life changes like that I mentioned for the Paladin. And then I'm curious what new character they're going to bring next, right? Is it going to be Kane finally? Is it going to be Mihail? Or is it going to be Arrow? What are they going to do? Because Sia came out in January of 2022, I think. And with Moon Fragment and stuff like that. And so I'm curious if they're going to wait to do new character in December, or are they going to wait till January? And is it going to be Arrow, or is it going to be Kane? And my prediction is that it's going to be Arrow. Like the game just needs it, right? They need something to bring it back for Christmas or for New Year to get more people interested. Something, right? I don't know if people are waiting for it, but it's something new. And it's a new class that they don't have in PC. They don't have anywhere else besides KMSM. So that is my thought process. That new class, if it doesn't come back, if a new class comes in December or January, it's going to be Arrow. Unfortunately, it's not going to be Kane or Mihail. I think it's going to be Arrow. So predictions for December is slight rebalance, obviously a Christmas event, maybe some quality of life changes, and then probably not a new class until January, because I'm sure the December patch is going to be surrounded by Christmas and then all those things, maybe some fashion, home stuff, things like that. So I don't expect much from December update, and hoping that if there is something, we'll take it. All right, so now I want to talk about Gloom and how it ranks, how difficult it is, right? Getting a lot of DMs about requirements, cap requirements, damage requirements, HP requirements, and I would say that it feels like right now, our team is obviously stacked, but we cleared in 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Right, this is our will team clearing 6:30, and this reminds me of Damien versus Lucid. Right, first day clear extremely easy. DPS is never an issue. It's kind of just figuring out the mechanics, and a lot of room for error. And if you are like, and there's people that have cleared without clearing will, right? So that's kind of gives you an idea of how much easier Lucid or Gloom is. So I would say that if you can clear Damien, you have about maybe about 250k HP, maybe a little less. But if your hard Damien team can clear in, let's say, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, or if you have an average maybe of 40 to 50 mil cap with maybe a few 60s in there, I think it's doable to do Gloom. Now, individual skill is huge, right? Because like I said in the patch notes, if you die during the petrify phase, it just makes it so much harder, and it kind of snowballs, the death snowball. So you're going to need more phantoms, you're going to need more paladins to support with the heals, better coordination, better, kiting and things like that. But I truly believe like we're trying to get, like I think Enosis, their whole guild cleared. Like they had like 3 or 4 or 5 teams clearing, right? And I'm sure it was all very, I saw some teams clear with 0 lives left. That will get better, and that'll get, as teams get more comfortable. But I would say that, it's possible to do with probably an average of high 40s, low 50s mil cap, obviously with great players, with players that know what they're doing. More cap, easier it's going to be, but DPS won't be an issue. Like I think it's just getting through like each cycle, petrify cycle. Like the longer the fight goes on, the more room for error, the more deaths are going to happen, right? So I truly believe, and when it comes to ranking Gloom, right, the way I rank it is based on how it was for the first clear. Because like if I'm ranking Damien right now versus what Gloom is right now, Damien's been out for 2 years, right? And they've rebalanced it consistently, and it just feels like, it's people have got so much experience with it now. It's kind of mindless. There's solo content and stuff like that, so can't really compare that. It doesn't really make sense. Like, but when it comes to when it first came out to the first actual clear, here I would put Gloom. I would put so if I was to rank Lotus, Lucid, Gloom, Will, and Damien, right? I think the easiest one was Lucid, because that was at the time. People already had 7-set Absols. People already had their Absol weapons, from Damien. So there was a tier like that. It's pretty easy, right? And still to this day, people are clearing Lucid before they're clearing hard Damien, right? It's just a DPS check, and there's not much DPS to it. It's pretty stationary, not much mechanics going on. If you have one person that knows how to do the cleansing, easy peasy, right? And when it first came out, we just stood on the statue and cleansed constantly and had no issues. We cleared like 5-6 minutes left in the fight. We didn't even know what we were doing. We just tunneled and got the clear. I would say Gloom was the second easiest of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gloom was the second easiest, even above Lotus. And again, we cleared in 6:30, right? And I think people forget that Lotus was extremely challenging. It was a sweaty run because we didn't have Absolabs back in the day, right? Our cap at the time was, equivalent to the boss. The DPS didn't catch up to the HP, right, at the time. And so phase 1 was, I would argue that phase 1, the death to time ratio is like in that phase, for any phase in any boss, is the highest. Like people are still dying in 1 minute of Lotus lasers now to this day, right? And so back then it was like 3-4 minutes to clear. Like every minute after that, there was like a internal clock, because every minute after that it was exponentially harder to clear. So Lotus phase 1 is still arguably one of the hardest phases to clear now, but definitely at the time of first clear. So don't sleep on how hard Lotus was. And it was a DPS check later, phase 2, phase 3, yes. But Purple Orb phase, the immunity phrases, if you got some of those, multiple of those, yeah, it got real sweaty. It was always a 10-minute fight, close to 10-minute fight for that first clear. Gloom, Gloom is 6:30, right? Teams are clearing 8 minutes, 7 minutes. It's the DPS is not an issue. It's just figuring out the mechanics. First timers, it's going to get much easier, much quicker, right? So how I would rank it right now is Lucid, Gloom, Lotus, right? Lotus was hard. Don't get me wrong, Lotus was hard, but once you got through phase 1, it was DPS check. It's pretty straightforward. Dodging was much easier, and so yeah, I'd say Lotus lasers. I don't take that for granted at all, but yeah, it was definitely challenging at the time. There was no DPS. It was sweaty. You needed the big guns, and you needed a lot of reps. Like phase 1 needed a lot of reps. You had to use like Hero's Will of Urda. You had to learn how to, God forbid, jump and use ladders and while attacking. That was uncharted territory and still challenging to this day for a lot of players. Amazing. Then I would say Will second hardest. Will 15-minute fight. It's a grind, right? And there was the test, but I think the hardest part was for us was that first burst window. You still needed DPS. It's still a DPS check, which makes it very challenging, but mechanics wise, it's not very hard in my opinion, right? Like as long as you have the DPS, you'll clear Will. You just have to get through that first window, do all the tests correctly, just dodge and survive. And it's totally fine. I think what really separates Will from the rest of the fights is a 15-minute fight. So that was so taxing at the start when you get all the way to the end and you don't make it DPS wise, or you fail in phase 3. Man, was it a grind to reset and refocus and lock in. I do not want to take Will for granted. We grinded for hours, 3-hour session after 3-hour session. First time I've ever done that because we were trying to get it done in the first week. But yeah, it was just like, I think the grind was harder. Just like getting used to that was the most challenging part, and we knew we could do it in that first week. But Damien is still the hardest boss. Hard Damien, hands down. When we first cleared, I think people forget how different it is now, right? Fair trade. We didn't use fair trade, right? You couldn't stand on the altars during fair trade. HP, we only had Lotus, a few Absols, 4 set Absols, and HP was a big issue, right? People were re-rolling HP potentials to just survive orbs for those people that are on the cleansing the black altars. It took a lot. I mean, I just think about how like the AI generated stuff for the skill rotation was needed to know what skill, when dashes were coming, when to blink up, when altars were coming 7 seconds before. People had to prep a lot of things. People actually had to know the rotations. I was calling it out every single skill, when it was coming, things like that, doing a lot more call outs. We haven't had that since or before that. It's just, Damien is, I don't want people to forget how hard Damien was when it first came out. There was no normal mode. There was no solo mode. It was just all either you're going to clear or you're going to clear hard mode. And at the time, it was a grind. Like something as simple as moving the orbs and seeing your name and when you have orbs to the left side was so hard. It was the hardest thing, and people just didn't know how to survive. And so I still think that hard Damien by far, it just took so much like team coordination, right? It wasn't just pure brute force DPS. You needed a team. You needed people to sacrifice DPS. It was better if you had one person as aggro, a one big DPS to hold aggro, and everyone else just kind of follow in and follow the roles. There was just a lot of layers to it, and rightfully so, right? I think people think every boss has to be harder, and I think I just try to remind myself that Damien is what allowed us to get the Absolab weapon, which allowed us to get 7 set Absolab for all those set bonuses, right? Will gives a pocket and a skill, right? That's pretty cool. But the pocket is the main reward, and then Gloom gives a ring. Those are nothing in comparison to a weapon and finishing a 7-set Absol, which now gives ignore enemy defense, or I gotta say it right, defense ignore rate, DIR, defense ignore rate. So yeah, Damien's still the king, then followed by Will, because that was just a grind, and then Lotus, Sneaky, Gloom, Lucid. So I think it's totally possible that Gloom is like I'm okay giving up my spot in Gloom to help someone else get their ring and their party XP medal, right? Because there's no, like, the daily grind, yeah, it's stigma crystals here and there, but it's not, like, for one, the team doesn't need my DPS, right? They can clear without it. And two, it's just first clear, guarantee 100%, no RNG is wild. Why did they do that? I have no idea, right? I'll get back. I'll take a break and I'll talk about what my thought process on why they did this and the pros and cons. All right, so quickly we're gonna finish off by talking about Gloom and the unique drop rate, or the unique achievement of clearing Gloom, right? Which is the first achievement usually is shards, 10 shards, a chance at a magnificent soul. There's none. I looked at the patch notes. There's none. You can't get shards at all for Gloom, which is strange. That's the first boss I think they've done that. And also, secondly, the achievement is you get a party XP medal, which does not expire. Insane. We'll take that. And the ring. Guarantee 100%. One clear is all you need to get a ring that gives you more cap, part of the pitch set, which gives you defense ignore rate, which is 5%, is huge. And it's a mythic ring. You can Star Force it up. You can level it up. You can turn it into an emblem. You can legendary potential. It's a massive must-have. And the fact that they gave it to us for free, well, not for free, but for one clear with no RNG, no needing 15 primals, no hoping for a drop rate, is absurd. Just insane, right? I thought, like, I remember when Will came out and we got the Will skill and like half of our team got it. We were just ecstatic. And now we get this and we're not even waiting to take a picture of clearing the boss. Like, we were more excited about getting the ring, putting it on, testing out PRs, legendary potentialing it up, than taking a picture or clear. The clear was like, let's just get it done. We can get this ring. Let's get it, you know? And I mean, I love it. I mean, how can you not, right? When you get 100% guaranteed drop in this game, you take it, because we never, ever get it. Insane, right? And so, well, this kind of in the future, right, is meta. Like, I'm just curious, right? Like I talked about it previously, but it's nice at the start, but how sustainable is it when, like, I can give up my spot, get an ult in? Like, people are DMing me for Team 2 to try and get their party members in, their perma members in for that medal. Not for the ring, for the medal, for training. Like, clearing bosses to train is more, like, priority than the actual bossing ring is just insane, right? That's awesome. I love it. Like, that's what it's all about, right? And I'm curious if this is something that, what they plan on, if this is a one-off, if they're trying to, like, gauging how we feel, because I'm gonna tell you right now, we love it. The community loves it. I'm telling you, I love it. And so keep doing this somehow. But I guess I have to think of the downside, right? There's not many. There's barely any, right? But the downside is, for me, is like, re-rolling has to be, you really have to be careful about re-rolling now. Because that ring, like, I talked about me re-rolling my Demon Slayer to Arrow on the same account. Now I have to rethink that, right? Because then if I clear Gloom on my Demon Slayer, I'm not going to get on my Arrow. I have to choose which account, which character. And if you can't scissors it, if it's locked to one character, it's over, right? And the party XP medal is the same thing. So you have to be really careful. And it just, I don't know if they thought about this, but it's just one sort of con to, or side effect to this, right? Rerolling is going to be very challenging. Are they trying to incentivize us? I thought they wanted to incentivize us to reroll and play as new characters. Now it's going to be very hard, right? You got to think about these things. Now it's it's minor, right? It doesn't affect that many people, right? But I just try to think about these things, what their thought process is, and what they plan on doing moving forward. But for the most part, it's a win-win, right? It feels like now people can, like, down the road, one rebalance away, a few months down, like, even if you have, like, you just got to do 2% damage. 2% damage to stay alive. And that's just going to get easier and easier over time. Like, imagine 6 months from now, everyone's going to get this ring. Just need one clear. Just, if your ult can do it for 2%, get it. Get it outdone. Guilty. Like, 2%, that's all you need. Pretty insane. Pretty cool. I mean, I got to give them props. I love that they, well, love, hate, but I love that they don't share this, right? In the patch notes. Nothing in the patch notes said anything about this being an achievement. And, when we see it, people see it, it's like, is that a bug? Don't tell anyone. Don't say anything, because they're gonna patch it. But it's intended. There's no patch so far. So we'll take it. We'll take it, and we love it. Nexon. We love it. And if anyone doesn't love it, I mean, I'd love to hear their thought process, right? Because I think it's important to hear both sides. Like, I'm just so caught up in, like, how I'm going to take advantage of it, how I'm going to get more guildies, how I'm going to get more teams, how we can get, like, all these people to get the ring. Just one clear. That's all you need. But, like, maybe there's a downside that I haven't thought of. So let me know in the comments what you think. But so far, if they do this more frequently, that'd be sick. Like, if they even change other bosses. Like, imagine if like, I don't know, they turned Sempress or Chaos Empress into a weekly boss, made it harder or something, but you guarantee get a drop. Would people enjoy that more? Would people take that more? Same thing for, like, Wanyan. Things like that. Like, instead of doing the boss shop, they could do that, right? A lot of people, or think, I don't know, but it just kind of makes me think about opening up so many more avenues to changing bossing to make it more beneficial for players to progress on these bosses that are so outdated, right? Or for a lot of people to catch up, newer players to catch up and get their 5-set, 6-set commanders, or get their, Empress rings or whatever, instead of waiting months and months and months and possibly a year just to hope and pray that they get the Magnus drop, the right Magnus drop, right? So I'm curious. This is something that is pretty cool, and I hope that they explore and think about to help improve the game for not just the whales right at the top tier, but they can also implement for the lower tier players and the newer players to get them more caught up and enjoy the game. And if you guys made it all the way to the end of the video, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe and join the Discord community. The Echo Clan community is growing, the best community in the game right now. And if you want to take your gameplay to the next level, improve your gameplay, do more damage, do more DPS, you definitely want to subscribe. The first 7 days are free, and you're going to get full access to everything in the channel. So you definitely want to check that out. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys next time.